So what did they do? What did they do? They impeached Trump today. That's right. The House of Representatives has voted to impeach the president. And it passed. So for the second time, President Trump has been impeached. My goodness. Now, the way it works is the House of Representatives say, all right, are we going to impeach him? And they all vote. And they voted, and they're going to impeach him. Now, whether or not it passes, it goes to the other side, okay, over to the Senate. And then they vote to see if it's actually going to pass and to actually remove him from office. Now, what's interesting, Mitch McConnell came out and said, well, we're not going to actually vote or reconvene at all on this until January 19th. Look, if Trump's out on the 20th, what is the point of this? What are you so what? They're saying, well, he's a threat. He could do so much damage in the next 2 weeks. That's what they were saying at first. But if it's going to last until the 19th, if Trump's last day is the 20th, what are they worried about? One day? You're going to get him the day before he's out anyway? That's your plan? This is 100% political. 100%. They want to ruin his name. They want to smear the people that support him. Why do you think they're vilifying every Trump supporter instead of saying the people that were in the Capitol building are the people that should be held accountable for their actions? Stop trying to smear every single Trump supporter out there. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not violent. I don't want anyone to be violent. I think as soon as you go violent, your message is lost and you're just someone who promotes violence and you're in the wrong. And no one's going to convince me differently there. That's just how I feel. I don't like violence. I don't want violence. If we need to talk it through and realize that we're all on the same page. We all want the same thing. They're the ones who convinced us that we're on these two side things, that if you're on the other side, you're evil. If you're on this side, the other side's evil. It's one or the other. Well, I can't stand that. We're called the United States for a reason, okay? They're trying to vilify him and make it so that he can't run again in 2024 if he's out, right? That's the only explanation that I can think of. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. We need to recognize that it's a political motive. We talked about the Federalist Papers last night. The very first paper, okay, talks about the bias and the motives in government and how it's always going to be a factor in most things, and you have to recognize it. Well, this is politically motivated, no doubt. They hate Trump. They hate him. H-A-T-E, hate. I don't even like to use that word because I feel like it's overused and people don't really understand what hate means. Okay? It's a bold word to hate something, right? Do we really hate things? I think they hate Trump. Well, because he's a wrench in their plan. He's a wrench in their plan. They want to get rid of him completely. Look, if they successfully impeach him, he loses his security detail for life. He's a president. All presidents get security detail for life. That's how it works. They get, I don't remember exactly how much money a year they get, but like $100,000 a year for the rest of their life. They get like a travel budget to travel wherever they want. You know, they achieve the highest office in the land. They're taken care of for the rest of their lives because I'm sure all presidents have political enemies. You think of any of the surviving presidents, Trump is going to have the most enemies. Yeah, because the establishment can't stand him. They cannot stand him. He's called out China for the entire time he's been president. For longer than that, he's been talking about China. He's been talking about the establishment, fake news, like all the things that he attacks is exactly what they don't want people to have a light on. They're like, no, stop. Just focus on how bad he is, please. Stop looking at us. We don't want you to look at us. We don't want you to look into our hypocrisies or how bad we are. And they've convinced a lot of people that they're right. Yeah, that blows me away. So yeah, Mitch McConnell, he says they won't convene for an early impeachment trial. All right. Thanks, McConnell. What I do find interesting is he's saying that they're not going to begin until January 19th, one day before the inauguration. I mean, there's a lot of rumors floating around on what's going to happen on the 20th. I don't know what to believe. A lot of people are saying that it's over. It's over. It's over. Like, I don't. If it's truly fraud really happened, what are we gonna do about that? Everyone I speak to believes Trump or that fraud happened, that fraud exists in our system, that our system is flawed, and that I was gonna say more, but that's really what I ask people, and everyone seems to agree that fraud exists and fraud happens. What do we do about that? Okay, how do we trust a system where everyone doesn't trust? Do we reform the system? How do we go about doing that? How do we know that elections moving forward are trustworthy? Because they wouldn't give us transparency. They wouldn't even go and prove themselves. Look, when we went to court to prove and show the evidence, it never even got to the point to even show the evidence. They just squashed it down. Nope, squash it down. No evidence. None whatsoever. And that's ridiculous. Yep. It's from Jim Jordan. Democrats want to cancel the president. That's what it feels like. Criticizing the impeachment proceedings against President Trump, GOP Representative Jim Jordan, who's a boss, by the way, said Democrats are trying to cancel the president. It's always been about getting the president no matter what. It's an obsession that is now broadened, he said. Stop and think about it. Do you have a functioning First Amendment when cancel culture only allows one side to talk? When you can't even have a debate in this country? He warned that cancel culture will eventually come for us all. And he's right. He's right. They're just canceling anyone that's talking about the things that they don't want to have talked about. Even I have to be wary of what I speak about on my channel now. On Twitter. I can't believe I'm still on Twitter. My goodness. I had a poll. Let me check the poll. Let's see where it's at. I said, how did I phrase it? Do you believe, here we go. Can you believe I'm still here? a simple, do you believe I'm still here? I said, hey, I'm still here on the 9th. Every day I'm still shocked by this on the 10th. Indeed I am. And can you believe I'm still here? 64% believe, yeah, I can believe it. But 35% of nearly 2,000 votes. That's like 700 votes of 700 out of 2,000 believe they can't believe I'm still on Twitter. They don't believe it. Like, why? Because what? Because I'm talking about this stuff. I'm calling these Democrats out for being hypocrites, which they certainly are. Not only are they hypocrites, they're actually the ones that have been out there inciting violence, anti-Trump rhetoric. I wasn't spreading anti-Biden supporter rhetoric. Sure, I don't like Biden. I think he's racist. I think he's an old man who doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's reading a prompter and not even very good at that. And certainly passed terrible laws in our country that's made it very difficult for many people to live in this country. I think he's a terrible congressman. I think he was dirty as a vice president. So sure, I have my anti-Biden things, but if you support Biden, I'm not going to ream you out for it. I'm not going to call you evil. I'm not going to say that you're complicit to, a dirty presidential candidate. No, I'm going to criticize Biden, okay? Not the Biden supporters. I have friends that are Biden supporters on Facebook, and it's interesting how quickly they go to attack me personally when I'm attacking Biden. I'm like, of course, you switch it. You just attack me now. Like, I'm part of being attacked when, okay, you can not like Trump. We can have a discussion about Trump. But as soon as you start attacking me, you've lost me. Like, I am not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in just being attacked personally. People, on Instagram are send me private messages, like, just not necessarily like, haha, but literally, yeah, I guess so. Haha. It's like, what's the point of that? What are you trying to do? You're trying to, like, I don't regret anything. You're not making me regret any of my decisions. In fact, I'm very firm in my convictions. And I'm never going to lose that. I love who I am. I love the decisions I've made. I don't regret any of them. I just have zero interest in knowing these people anymore. If they're that vindictive, if they're that brainwashed by these people that are in government actually inciting violence, that blows me away. Now we have Black Lives Matter activists in D.C. right now screaming at police. Where were you? How dare you? Oh, now you got guns? I'm serious. Let me see. Do I have that video? I don't know if I have that video up. But look, I don't have that video up, but there's a video floating around right now. Andy No just posted it. They're out there. They're screaming at police. Well, you know what? You know whose fault it was that DC didn't have a lot of police? It was their fault. Here's a report. Dems partly at fault for insufficient security at the U.S. Capitol. That's right. And I mean, I don't even need to really go into it because defund the police. That's what they wanted. They wanted the police defunded. Well, they got what they wanted. You know who called in the National Guard? President Trump. President Trump called in the National Guard. He wanted to help bring the peace because he himself is a peacemaker. He brought peace to the Middle East. Of course, they don't talk about that on the news. That's something that I grew up with. Peace in the Middle East. I used to watch rock stars growing up. Like, yeah, peace in the Middle East. MTV was pushing it back when MTV was cool in the 90s. I grew up on that. It was my young teenage years. Peace in the Middle East. I was like, man, that will never happen. It's never going to happen. War-torn. Why is it war-torn? Because there's no peace. Because there's constantly war. Well, who's causing these wars? Could it possibly be our president? The establishment that makes a lot of money off of war? Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll tell you what. He's a peacemaker. He talks a lot about he wants the world to stop killing itself. He's trying to de-escalate situations. He's promoting peace, not violence. I see the Democrats inciting the violence. I'm repeating myself now, but it's ridiculous. Now we have, check this out. This blew me away. I want to zoom this in. Project Veritas blew the whistle on this woman, okay? I'll just read it to you. Austin, Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton today announced the arrest of Rachel Rodriguez for election fraud, illegal voting, unlawful assisting voting by mail, unlawful possessing of an official ballot. Each charge constitutes a felony under the Texas Election Code. Rodriguez was exposed in a Project Veritas video last fall while she engaged in vote harvesting leading up to the 2020 election. The Election Fraud Division of the Office of the Attorney General reviewed dozens of hours of unedited raw footage which led to this arrest. In an uncharacteristic moment of honesty, Rodriguez acknowledged on video that what she was doing is illegal and that she could go to jail for it. If convicted, Rodriguez could face up to 20 years in prison. Okay, so now we have someone admitting that they did it. They got arrested for it. Voter fraud is real. It actually happened. Okay, sure, Texas didn't flip blue, which a lot of people were suspiciously saying was going to happen. Well, it didn't happen. All right? Huh. So Project Veritas actually was onto something. I don't know how many people follow Project Veritas, but I do. I actually met James O'Keefe a couple months ago. Great guy. Very nice. But man, that guy does some digging. And he's called out many places. He was blowing a lot of people up in Georgia. just blasting their situation out. Check this out. Boom. Exposed. Voter fraud. Oh, they exposed this person, and this person admitted she's got multiple felonies now. Voter fraud exists. It happened. Now we're seeing the fallout, the proof. So what, are we supposed to just roll over and accept this? What are we supposed to do now? Everyone believes voter fraud happened. Now we've got the proof that it happened. It actually happened. She admitted it on camera, saying, this is illegal. I could probably go to jail for this. Oh, boom. And now so we're supposed to accept that Biden's the legitimate president? All I've been asking for is transparency. Prove it to me. They don't want to even prove it. They just want people to shut up. Nothing to see here. Keep moving along. You know the meme. Big old flame. Nothing to see here. Keep moving along. There is no such thing as voter fraud. When it's interesting, when you look at those articles that were always popping up, it's always said widespread voter fraud was never a thing before. Okay, I agree with that statement. That's actually true. It wasn't the widespread voter fraud that is being claimed to have happened has never happened before. Truth. But now it is? Now you're telling me that this is true? People are now getting arrested for actually participating in voter fraud? Who's inciting the violence? Who? Trump? He's trying to... This is what he was saying. He was saying that voter fraud exists. Now we actually have people being arrested. So Trump was right again? He was right about hydroxychloroquine. People could have... How many lives could have been saved if people actually listened to him? Way back in April when he suggested it and then got burned by the media. The media were like, how dare you? They were banning doctors, getting rid of everyone because they needed the vaccine to go through. Oh, that's a whole different side subject. We can talk about that another time. But the voter fraud that Project Veritas has been blowing up nonstop. Georgia, they were hitting them up. Wisconsin, they were hitting them up. Texas, it was going down. Now we're seeing this and they're arresting people for it. So if all we want is transparency, why can't you prove it? Why can't you prove it? You know why? Because they probably cannot. They need this to just go away. And that's why and now I'm going to reiterate, I cannot believe I'm still here. And I'll honestly, I owe it a lot to you all for showing up for me, for smashing that like button, for sharing these videos of me talking about what I'm finding. Okay? Who's really inciting the violence? The people trying to tell you there's no voter fraud when there's voter fraud. There's voter fraud. This woman was just arrested. I'll read it again. Illegal voting, election fraud, unlawful assisting people voting by mail, unlawful possessing of an official ballot. Ilhan Omar was caught ballot harvesting. She was paying people to ballot harvest for her. Is she legitimate? Should she even be in office? Now I'm thinking, who should legitimately be in office? I don't trust it anymore. And that's me seeing what I'm seeing here. We actually have someone being arrested. They're the ones inciting violence. The Democrats telling you to shut up and accept what we tell you. We're allowed to incite violence, not you. Oh, Trump says he doesn't want violence. He wants violence. Trump, he said that he doesn't want violence. But if you look closely and you take the context out of it and you rearrange the words, he's saying he wants violence, right? You have to look in between what he's saying and how he's saying them. You know, he had 17 flags behind him. So him saying that he doesn't want violence is a conspiracy. And it's like, what? Listen to the words out of his mouth. I don't want violence. I want to go there peacefully. We're going to go there together and protest peacefully. I'm hearing peaceful a lot. I'm hearing him say, I don't want violence. I'm seeing him condemn violence. I watched his video. He said, I condemn the people that went in there. Violence is wrong. They should never have gone in. That's not what I wanted. Well, they got rid of it because they need him to be the orange man bad.